In this video, I want to discuss intensity versus tension, because they're two very different things. Actually, they're two, in my opinion, opposite things when it comes to singing or screaming.
Close and open. Close and open. Close and open. Close and We're passing onward. It's all for the
Intensity is what we want a lot of times. We want loud, we want in your face, we want aggressive, right? Tension competes with the intensity that we want to have. Oftentimes when you're singing or you see someone singing or screaming or doing anything with their voice with tension, they're actually not as intense. They're reserved. They're pent up. They're doing things that are not desirable. Yet we often confuse this, someone screaming into a mic and there's veins popping from their neck and, man, that guy must be really tense. No, he's intense. He's being intense. There is no way if he had competitive tension going on in his singing or screaming that he would be able to do what he's doing without, period, but also without injuring himself. Now, if you'd like to learn how to identify and release tension in your singing voice or your screaming, be sure to click the link below and join my free vocal course. I'll walk you through fundamental ways that you can figure out how things are supposed to feel, and then later on, I'll show you how to identify those things that are keeping you from reaching your full potential. So, click that link, and here we go. Tension versus intensity. Tension is a mindset, begins with a mindset. This mindset is I'm insecure about what I'm about to do, and so I'm going to, without really even knowing it, I'm going to compensate with areas of my body that have nothing to do with what I'm trying to do in order to do what I want to do. And one of the main things that you'll see people do is they're trying to hit a note, let's say, that note, and rather than going for it, they end up, with all sorts of other poor technique because they don't understand how their voice is supposed to work, and they compensate by using their neck. They'll do this. They'll close the back of their throat depending on what the vowel they're singing. There's all sorts of things, and you realize if you really break this down and you really learn to be introspective, you learn that none of this has anything to do with singing, but you're making it a part of your singing. This is tension, and tension comes and competes with what you truly want to do, but it exists because you're not approaching things correctly. Intensity is the following. You've got it. You've got things down correctly so that you can uninhibitedly execute on something you're hearing in your head. So that same note, there I got it, but my neck, and there's all sorts of weird things happening. Right? I mean, you've heard people, and you've probably maybe even done some of that yourself. I know I've done that in the past before I really figured this out. But that same note, I've got it. I've got my support. I've got how I'm supposed to be using compression, how good closure is supposed to feel, how I'm supposed to think down on the note, all these fundamental things about singing. And I'm going to sing it however the heck I want to sing that note. Now, you might say, it looks like there's tension in your neck. This is where we really need to examine the use of the words and the meaning behind the words. Now, if I'm doing, I'm involving my neck, but I'm involving it. What I'm doing is I'm involving the area above my vocal cords. I'm squeezing the false chord area to add compression and grit. This is a common practice, and It's a completely different way of thinking about it. I've got that note already. Yeah! I'm using the correct support. I'm thinking down on the note. I've got vocal compression and chord closure where they need to be. I've got my vowel placement on yeah where it needs to be. I've got all these things in line, and then I'm adding intensity over the top of it, as opposed to involving my muscles in order to get to a certain note or get a certain sound. Does that make sense? It's an important distinction to make regardless of what kind of style you're singing in. Whether you're singing in a lot of, clean head voice or whether you're screaming. Tension-free singing starts with confidence and a knowledge of the fundamentals. So let's do a couple more things, particularly with aggressive singing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's important in what I just did is primarily what I'm doing with my mind. Of course, all the singing fundamentals are very important, right? But if I go into things with this mindset that as long as I'm free, I'm good. As long as I'm free, I'm good. As long as I'm free, I'm good. I am free to be intense without being tense. But when I'm not free, when I'm not sure if I can hit that note. If I just don't care if I hit the note, I probably won't be tense. But when I'm not sure, tension creeps in all sorts of ways. I hope this has helped you clear up the mindset differences between tension and intensity and how to think about them more healthily for your own voice. Again, click the link below if you want to get started on building the solid fundamentals for a great voice, and we'll see you for more real soon.